The Roman Labyrinth. Chapter 7. Arrival. Surely you're joking, Mr. Feynman. Richard Feynman, the title of the book. 2005, September 5, Rome. Rome met Anna with a midday heat and a taxi driver's strike. She had to take the express and then an underground train to get to her hotel. From the first sight, Anna didn't like the Roman subway. The walls were depressingly gray, contaminated with graffiti and inane inscriptions. The train was slow and noisy. The people, however, looked to be far more diverse than the Moscow crowd, and Anna busied herself, studying people's faces as the train was shaking its way toward the hotel. As soon as she emerged out of the busy and crowded subway, the intoxicating Roman air, brewed on sunshine, gasoline, dust, and flowers, hit her, cheering her up, inspiring new hopes, and promising a new beginning. It was busy in the subway, busier still on the streets. People filled the sidewalks and cars lined the curbs. The groups of tourists were wandering past her and would, from time to time, stop to pose for one another's camera. Dozens of small piazzas, thousands of cars and scooters, people frivolous and life-asserting. All this suddenly invaded Anna's world. The ornate facades of the ancient buildings, painted in different colors, were brightened by the sunlight. Anna wished she could be here on vacation, not on some business she couldn't even comprehend. Anna's hotel was close to the historical center of Rome, and her two-bedroom suite was spacious and squeaky clean. A thick carpet in warm coffee hues with a golden ornament on the sides cushioned her feet as she walked in. The walls were decorated with original antique paintings and prints. All the furniture was made out of expensive redwood, and, probably originated as early as the 90th century, a huge flat plasma TV didn't quite fit into this nearly antique environment. All this luxury didn't come by chance. According to her legend, Anna was now the daughter of a rich banker who came to Rome on her own to linger a little and to study amateur architecture. After taking a quick shower, Anna stretched herself out on the floating feather bed. But a need to distract her attention from the unsettling thoughts of her assignment, together with a realization that the hotel was within walking distance from everything in Rome, soon made her get up. The sun was lazily rolling down when she walked out on the narrow street packed with small cars. Anna didn't want to go to the crowded places. As she kept on walking up the hill, the busy shops and cafes faded into quaint cottages and charming villas. It was quiet here, and even 2 blocks away, Anna could hear the words of a folk song from an open-air cafe. Con questo zeffiro, così soave oh, com'è bello star sulla nave. Su passeggeri, venite via, Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia. A company of elderly people were celebrating the closing of another day of life over a bottle of wine. As Anna was walking the streets of Rome, her thoughts turned to Aunt Maya, who loved Rome and lately spent weeks and even months in Rome, especially when the cold Moscow weather and irritation or boredom of the fatherland were getting on her nerves. As a little girl, without leaving Aunt Maya's apartment on Kolomenskaya, Anna traveled, if only in her imagination, as an ambassador's daughter, through South America and Europe, Africa and Australia, the States and Canada. She would meet foreign officials. She would be introduced to artists, writers, workers, farmers, and other exotic and not so exotic people. Anna would even meet funny Aboriginal people, savage natives, and fearless cowboys. Aunt Maya had a British military atlas, and together they explored the world and read the breathtaking names of the distant, exotic places. Aunt Maya also had a collection of printed albums with pictures of different countries, remote corners of the world, and, with a little imagination, Anna got to see astonishing places, all in the context of her unusual lessons. Aunt Maya would confront Anna with a situation where the little girl had to use not only her skills in a foreign language, but also her knowledge of the local traditions, dialects, history, geography, and oftentimes her own creativity and imagination. Learning geography and politics with Aunt Maya was an extraordinary experience. All the barriers of learning that Anna contracted at school were broken down, never to rise again. Learning English and Italian, Aunt Maya also knew German and French, but her real passion was Italian. Shattered Anna's insecurity, vanquished her shyness. Anna remembered the days when Aunt Maya would be taking her afternoon nap, siesta as she called it, and Anna would search through her collection of journals. Aunt Maya subscribed to every imaginable thick journal published in the Soviet Union. Of special interest to the little girl were the journals Vokrug Sveta, Around the World, and Nauka I Życie, Science and Life. In the Around the World journal, Anna would find enthralling articles about the other countries, other peoples. The popular scientific articles from the Science and Life journal also fascinated her. In her time, Aunt Maya delighted in literature. Hers was a mixed salad of Chingiz Aitmatov and Ion Drews, Ernest Hemingway, Joseph Brodsky, Boris Pasternak, Yuri Olesha, and many others, including those whose books were available only through samizdat, the handwritten or typewritten illegal copies of the forbidden authors. Anna, to the utmost surprise of Aunt Maya, who was unequivocally humanitarian, was more inclined toward the world of science, math, and calculus. Rather than alienating the woman and the girl, this diversity only brought them closer. Looking at the world through Anna's eyes, Aunt Maya was discovering, in awe, another fascinating dimension of life. One day, as Anna was turning the pages of one of the Science and Life journals for the year 1986, she came upon a story that started with words that immediately caught her attention. When I was about 11 or 12, I set up a lab in my house. Anna read. At the time she was 11, and the idea intrigued her. It consisted of an old wooden packing box in which I put shelves. I had a heater, and I'd put in fat and cooked French fried potatoes all the time. I also had a storage battery and a lamp. It surely sounded fascinating for a little girl. She knew she wouldn't be able to afford such a luxury in their Moscow apartment, but it was intriguing to read what this little boy would do in his self-created lab. Anna looked at the name of the author. The title said it was by the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman. Anna never heard this name before. The magazine published a series of articles, chapters from Richard Feynman's book, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. The articles, as Anna soon discovered, were a breathtaking mixture of anecdotes, childish experiments in the world of math and physics, remarkable tricks that Feynman invented, and scholarly data, stated in such simple terms that even a little girl could comprehend. Anna discovered that Feynman was not only a genius physicist, but also a prankster, juggler, painter, and bongo player. He mastered biology, art, drums, Mayan hieroglyphs, lockpicking, code-breaking, computers, the samba, and numerous other fascinating activities. Anna's mind devoured the short series of articles from the journal, but she wanted to read more about this man. The journal had a reference to Feynman's book, and Anna asked Aunt Maya how she could acquire it. Aunt Maya's brother-in-law immigrated a few years before to the United States, and from time to time was sending his sister some extravagant clothes or electronics. At first, Aunt Maya wasn't very moved by the idea of ordering some, as she called it, science books. But as she read the articles, she changed her mind. In less than 2 months, the book arrived. It was the very first English book Anna read, first with the help of Aunt Maya, and then entirely on her own. To her surprise, Anna understood nearly everything in the book, and not only in terms of language, but also the concepts. Aunt Maya, who was a maverick herself, was also taken aback by the eccentricity and free spirit of the scholar. Anna was especially fascinated with what appeared to be Feynman's intellectual obsession with Tuva, a tiny country in Asia, part of the USSR that bordered on Mongolia. For some reason, Feynman's life seemed to be revolving around one simple goal: to visit Tuva and its capital with a strange, vowel-less name of Kazel. Anna read that it was upon the discovery of such an exotic name that Feynman decided to go to Tuva. He even learned the language and the Tuvan special manner of throat singing. Feynman's dream had never materialized. For years he tried to get a visa to come to the USSR and to visit Tuva. Ironically, the day after he died, a letter arrived for him from the Soviet government giving him authorization to travel to Tuva. This first childhood encounter with a contemporary genius, even through the means of a book, had a great impact on Anna's mind. From now on, Anna knew she never would accept an ordinary life. The incredible mathematical and physical laws that govern nature, all these topics were simply too fascinating to ignore. Feynman's character mystified Anna, and the first vague feelings toward the opposite sex were rising in Anna because of him. Aunt Maya would tell her in those days that Anna became an aristocrat of the spirit. At that time, Anna had only a vague idea of what that meant. But later on she reflected with a smile that it must be an unawareness of the issues of real life and an undivided loneliness, the qualities she had surely inherited from Aunt Maya. A flock of pigeons started up off the paving stones as Anna strolled slowly through the middle of the small cobbled piazza. A magical scene appeared to Anna's eyes, the rooftops of Città di Dio, the city of God. Twilight was coming down slowly. The sky was turning a pinkish blue, bestowing its fading light on the red roofs of the cottages and the golden black and white cathedral domes. After a few minutes the sun dipped below the horizon, and the city lights then sparkled and illuminated the sky, making the first stars barely visible. Anna thought about the countless similar sunsets that for centuries could be observed here. They were probably not that different from what she just saw. The evening breeze that was especially palpable on the hilltop had done its work, bringing freshness to everything alive. In this moment, Anna experienced a forceful dependence on the power of nature. Her every sensation seemed to be of manifold intensity: the voices of the people on the street, the smell of the foods and drinks at the open-air restaurants, the sight of the cheerful crowd going its way. In the midst of this profuse life, Anna was also reminded of her own unique existence. The little girl from a tiny Russian village and the young woman on the Roman piazza was the same Anna Ludova, even though she was now traveling as Anna Green. A strange mixture of unexplored feelings descended on her: hope and hopelessness, craving and repression, joy and misery. Her thoughts and her desires were perplexed, and Anna experienced a sudden pain of unbelonging. She nearly envied the multitude of careless people around her, yet never before had she sensed so clearly that hers was a different destiny.